Shalom Aleichem and welcome everyone. Baruch Hashem. We have the opportunity to learn again. This week being Parshat Vayigash. And Parshat Vayigash, Rabbi Yosef here before just was saying how the Parsha is an exciting Parsha, so much to talk about. It's the climax, the story of Yosef and his brothers. The brothers sold him, he went into slavery, he ended up being in prison, and eventually came out of prison, became viceroy. The brothers came back. He's been giving them a hard time. And then Yehuda can't take it anymore, and he's like, he's going to fight, he's going to destroy the whole Mitzrayim if, he doesn't get Binyamin back. So Yosef HaTzadik realizes he has to end this whole charade, this whole issue that's going on here. And so Yosef says, a famous pasuk, Yosef says, V'yomer Yosef el achiv, ani Yosef. He tells his brothers, they can't figure out what's going on. He says, I am Yosef. Ha'od avi hai. Is my father still alive? And his brothers couldn't answer him because they were all mixed up. They didn't have what to answer him. Now, the famous Midrash Rabbah that says, Abba Kohen Bardelo says, woe to us on the day of judgment. Woe to us on the day of reproof, the day that we get in Shemayim judgment, the day Hashem is going to give us a rebuke. How terrible it's going to be for us. Why? Yosef was the second youngest of the 12 tribes, and the brothers cannot face him when he gave them rebuke. When Yosef gave them musar, they could not answer him. As it says, they couldn't answer him. How then will we be able to answer Hashem when Hashem gives us musar for what we did in our life? Okay, the first question that goes on this Midrash Rabbah is, Midrash Rabbah here says, Yosef gave musar, tochecha, rebuke to his brothers, and they couldn't answer him. And Hashem is going to do the same thing to us, and we're not able to answer Hashem. The question is, where is the tochecha? Where is the rebuke? Where is the reproof that Yosef gave his brothers? All he said was, the Pasuk doesn't say Yosef says, you know what you did to me, you sold me, blah, blah, blah. He didn't say anything. All his words were, Ani Yosef, I am Yosef. Ha'od avi chai, is my father still alive? He didn't give any musar. He didn't say, I'm Yosef, how could you have just sold me? You see where I became? Da-da. So where is the musar? Where is the rebuke? Where is the tochecha that Rabbi Kohen Bardelo says is here?
After.
Where after?
The father passed away, they're scared.
But it says it over here. They couldn't answer him. And basically they couldn't answer, saying that's a tochecha. So there are a few answers. We'll start with one and we'll move into the second one. Second one is really what I want to get to. But the first one I think is also very important. It's brought down from Rav Pam. Rav Pam in his Atar L'Melech says, you want to know what the tochecha was? The tochecha was, Yosef didn't even mean to give them reproof. He also didn't even mean to give them musar. Didn't even mean to give them rebuke. All Yosef said was, Ani Yosef. I am Yosef. And then the brothers realized on their own that for 22 years, they were mistaken. They believed Yosef was a raidef. He was trying to kill them. He was trying to take them out of the Jewish community, that it should be only him, just like Yaakov and not Esav, just like Yitzhak and not Ishmael, it should be Yosef and not his brothers. They thought that he was the bad guy. They thought he was the rodef. They thought he was the one who was going after him. And now they see that Yosef is not that. Yosef kept the whole world alive. Yosef is a tzaddik. Yosef is telling them, he's not even blaming them. When they realized this, they realized what a mistake they did. And they could not reply anything back on what they did. Rav Pam says a very important lesson from this. The first lesson he says from this is, no one can judge another person. The brothers tried to judge Yosef and say, Yosef, you're the bad guy. They thought he was bad. They threw him. They'd finished with him. And the truth is, Yosef was the exact opposite. Sometimes we judge somebody. And we say, somebody, you're a bad person, I want to talk to you, and we think he's not going to be anything. Like they say in, I think it's Bukhari, no shoot, right? They say someone's a no shoot. He's going to he's useless. He's worthless. And what happens? Within a matter of time, A lot of times, whatever you thought someone was going to be, the exact opposite. Right? Because they try and they try and they try. I was just reading to my children tonight the story of Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. Eliezer ben Hyrcanus was so dumb. His father gave up on him. Told him, you're not going to learn any Torah. You're not going to learn nothing. You can't even take care of a field. You're worse than a donkey. And he went and he learned Torah and he became better than everyone else. He became one of the biggest tzaddikim. He was a student of Yochanan and Zagai. You can never tell somebody that you're nothing. You don't know what he is. And everybody has a big potential. So that's one idea, is that they realized that after 22 years, whatever they thought was wrong. That in itself was a big rebuke. However, I want to bring another idea, and this one I think is the most famous of all explanations of what the Tokcha is. What the rebuke, what the reproof was in this week's parasha. That Yosef said, Ani Yosef. And this comes from the Beit HaLevi of Soloveitchik. Rav Soloveitchik says, you want to know what the rebuke was? You want to know what reproof that Yosef gave? Yosef Tzaddik is telling Yehuda. What was Yehuda's? Yehuda's talking to Yosef, right, as the king of Mitzrayim. And he said, you can't keep Binyamin. Why can't you keep Binyamin? What's going to happen to my father, Yehuda says? My father's going to die, right? No Binyamin, my father's going to die. He's not going to feel good. So Yosef HaTzadik says, Ani Yosef. Ha'od Avichai, I am Yosef. Did you think about my father when you sold me, what it was going to do to him? You're telling me, Binyamin, don't keep because it's going to kill my father. When you sold me, did you think about my father? You're contradicting yourself. It's a stira. It's a contradiction. You're being inconsistent. How come that didn't bother you? The Beit HaLevi says that's exactly what the Tochacha is. You know what the rebuke is? You're going to come up to Shemaim and they're going to tell you, you had so many opportunities to give tzedakah. Why didn't you give tzedakah? And the person's going to say, I didn't give tzedakah. You know why? I didn't have money. I had so many bills, this, that. Hashem says, really? And what about that shashlik you bought that day and that steak sandwich that you bought that cost $30, $50, $60? That was no problem. The inconsistency, the contradiction. The guy goes to buy tefillin for his son, and he says, Rabbi, how much I get tefillin? Rabbi says $1,000. Highway robbery, you're starting to steal from me? You're making a business out of tefillin. And then he goes to the caterer, and he tells the caterer, I need flowers. I need the freshest flowers. I tell him $1,000 per table. No problem. Contradiction, inconsistency. It's examples, okay? But that's the idea. How many times we're building a house and the guy needs a special doorknob for the front door, and this comes from Italy, $500. Then he goes to get the mezuzah. The sofer says $80. What $80? $10 mezuzot. Where are those ones my father used to get for $10? Where is it? Person is inconsistent in what he does. That's what Yosef HaTzadik was telling the brothers. You're saying, what is my father going to feel? Binyamin is not coming back. What about by me when I didn't come back? What did my father feel? There are people who say, I'm not going to keep the Torah. Parts of the Torah I'm not going to keep. Respecting my parents, I'm going to do because it makes sense to me. But hukim, why I have to wear tzitzit? What nonsense is this? Why I have to put on tefillin? Why I have to keep kosher? What makes sense here? Oh, I have to go to mikvah? I have to do these type of things? What is this? Superstitions? Here, Rav Chaim Moshe Gedensky of Vilna was once at a home of a rich man, a Jewish man. He was trying to get a donation to build a mikvah for the woman. And the man said, listen, Rabbi, you're good guys, I like you, but I'm not giving money for a mikvah. He says, why not? He says, in the olden days, there was no good hygiene. There was no swimming. There was no plumbing. There was no showers. So they needed somewhere to be clean. So they had a mikvah. And the Rabbi Gansky says, that's nothing to do. It has to do with tumah, tahara, neither this, that. He says, Rabbi, these superstitions is beyond me. Then this nice gentleman takes out 3 cigars and he gives it to himself, Rabbi Chaim Moser, and another rabbi that was accompanying Rabbi Chaim Moser. Then he takes the match and he's lighting 1, 2, and he shuts off the match and puts it on for the third one, a separate match. So Rabbi Chaim Moser tells him, why? Why are you not using the same match? He says, Rabbi Chaim Moser, you don't know? 1 match for 3 cigars brings bad luck. Rabbi Chaim Moser tells him, this you understand, and mikvah you don't understand. How many people, they're scared to go on the Friday the 13th, or the 13th floor, the black cat, the mirror broke. Oh, all these superstitions they believe. But Torah? Hukim? It says in the Torah, that rabbi's making up. It's a business. It's a fake. It's not real. It doesn't make sense. It's old days. This is the inconsistency. This is the tochecha that's going to be. That's going to come after 120. You're going to come to, they're going to say, you didn't learn Torah because you said you didn't have time. But all of a sudden, when it came to playing on your iPhone, you can look at your iPhone, it tells you how much you play every day on it, how much screen time, 8 hours, 6 hours. I heard people have 12, 13 hours a day. And you have not 1 minute for Torah. Even more, the Midrash Rabbah Megillah Esther says, somebody's working, busy, reading, doing things. He's not tired. All of a sudden, he takes out a sefer, sleep he goes. Why? Again, inconsistency, contradiction, because it's what you want. When a person says, I can't do something, it's not that he can't do it, it's that he doesn't want to do it. He says, I can't do it. That's what Yosef Tzaddik was telling the brothers. He says, look at what you're doing, look what you're saying. You gotta be consistent. Rab Yisrael Salanter once went to a hotel and an inn, and he was staying there. And the inn owner, a Jewish inn owner, he sees the Chacham, and he tells Rav Salanter, are you a sheikhet? I need some chicken. I have a guest come. And Rav Salanter says, I am a sheikhet. You know, the Gemara says that a Talmid Chacham needs to know 3 things. He needs to know how to write a Sefer Torah. He needs to know how to do shchita. He needs to know how to do milah. Right? So I think Rav Avner fits that category. Right? I think so. The Talmid Chacham does 3 things. Shchita, circumcision. So her son says, I know how to do it. So he says, okay, here's all the chickens. And gives them to Shach. 10 minutes later, Rav Salanter comes back to this inn owner. And he says to this innkeeper, he says, listen, can you loan me like 10, 15 rubles? Rabbi, 15 rubles? I don't know who you are. You just came in. You know, I don't know you. Rav Salanter pulls out his wallet and shows him he has the money. He says, I just wanted to show you. When it comes to kashrut, you're ready to believe me. Yeah, he's a rabbi. He's wearing a hat. He knows how to do shchita. Good. Go. Comes to money. All of a sudden, you don't know me. All of a sudden, you can't trust me. Again, inconsistency is terrible. A person has to realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to pin us on ourselves. So we are going to make our own tochecha. We're going to be, the rebuke is going to be on ourselves. You acted this one way, and you acted another way somewhere else. Why did you do this? How come you did it like this? This is what the question is going to be. This is the contradiction. But I saw a beautiful piece. Rav Osher Weiss, Shlita says, so what am I to do with this midrash? I should be scared till 120? What, Hashem is going to talk to me? My inconsistencies? Rav Osher Weiss says, no, you know what this midrash is really telling us? To give ourselves tochecha today. Stop and look and see what we're doing. And say to ourselves, why am I doing this? It's inconsistent. Yesterday I said something else. Or yesterday when it came to eating, I had plenty of time. When it came to watching, I came to concentrate on something else. No problem. Now it's time to go to the shir. I can't make it. I can't do it. This is not happening for me. A person has to give himself tochecha. Rosh Hashanah says, you know why it's better to give yourself reproof and rebuke? Because when someone else gives it to you, you get upset. Right? If someone else tells you something about you, even though he's right, the natural instinct is to be upset that someone told you something. Right? So, what are you supposed to do? He says, a person should start looking at himself and start giving himself tochecha. Why am I doing this? To stop and really, once in a while, ask yourself why you're doing certain things. And is that the right thing to do? It's not easy to do. You got to stop and think about your life. You know, we have a thing.
No time to stop.
Most people, first we don't have time to stop, but not only that, most people, we're biased. We think whatever we're doing is the right thing. That's the way people are. Whatever I'm doing is that. My friend who's too religious, he's a fanatic. The other guy who's not religious enough, he's a goy. Me, I'm perfect. That's the way people think, right? Because you see yourself being perfect. My Rosh Yeshiva reminds me all the time, says, you go to every group of Jews, right? Say go to the modern Orthodox, right? So the modern Orthodox is going to say the Yeshiva Shalom, too fanatic. The secular Jews, goyim, right? Then you go to the Yeshiva Shalom. Yeshiva Shalom say modern Orthodox, they're too lenient, and the Hasidim, way fanatics. You go to the Hasidim are going to say, oh, the Satmar and the Turei Karta, they're too fanatic, and the Yeshiva guys are too lenient. Everyone's going to look at someone else. Everyone's perfect except everyone else. So the hard part is to stop and really look at yourself. To stop and really say, maybe something is wrong with me. And you have to give tochacha to yourself. Do you know, the Gamliel Rabbeinu at Shlita says, part of giving yourself tochacha is okay for you to stop and ask someone else to give you rebuke. Someone else to give you musar. Tell someone, you know what? Because it's hard to look at your own problems. But if you ask someone to give you rebuke, you may not be upset at them afterwards because you asked them to do it. Not only that, it's known that the Marshal would pay someone to give him tochacha, as did the Vilna Gaon. They take people and say, please give me musar. Please scream at me. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. It's something to be able to hear someone say what you're doing, because people don't think about what they're doing. Sometimes you need someone else from the outside to tell you. And the smart person, like the Mishlei says, or someone else tells us, the smart person enjoys rebuke. Rebuke a smart person because he'll take it and he'll really use it. A fool, and he'll be upset with you. And so here he says a story that there was a rabbi, Rav Moshe Mandel of Bnei Brak, and a neighbor once came to Moshe Mandel of Bnei Brak to ask him a question in halacha. He knocked on the front door, nobody answered. So he went to the back to see maybe he's going to hear me from the back. He says he comes to the back and he hears from the window someone screaming, Rav Moshe, when are you going to do tshuva? You have so many aveiros. How are you going to fix yourself? What are you going to be with your neshama? He hears this and he runs away. But Rabbotai, that's the truth. Because what are you going to do? Wait until you come to Shemayim and they're going to tell you did everything wrong? And all the inconsistencies? Or is it better now to start to give ourselves rebuke in this world? So Be'ezat Hashem, when we get into Shemayim, we already have everything straightened out and there is no contradictions. And we live a life that's Kulei Kodesh. Let's move on to another idea from this week's parasha. So in this week's parasha, Yaakov Avinu is informed that Yosef is still alive. Right? The famous Midrash, Sarach Bat Asher is playing the harp or whatever it was, and she said the music, I need Yosef, and her father is still alive, and she kind of brought his spirit back because didn't want to just walk in and say, hey, Joseph's alive, he's going to die. You can't scare people. You got to bring it into them. So when they tell Yaakov that Yosef is alive, they tell him also that he is the ruler in Mitzrayim. And when Yaakov hears this, that Yosef is alive, and that Yosef is the ruler in Mitzrayim, Yaakov Avinu says, Rav od Yosef beni chai, elecha ve'erenu b'terem amut. He says, how great my son Yosef still lives. He didn't mention how great my Yosef is still alive and he's the king in Mitzrayim, the viceroy in Mitzrayim. He didn't say that. He's just informed Yosef is there, he's in charge, he's everything. He's the ruler there. He doesn't say anything, thank you to that. He just says, thank you Hashem, how great it is, Yosef is still alive. In the Pnei Torah, he says over here, a very interesting idea. He brings this from Rabbi Dr. Abram Torsky, Zecher Tzadik L'Bracha. He brings a story as follows. There was a woman walking along the beach with her son, and a violent storm broke out, and the wave came, took her son, and went back into the ocean with her son. And she lost her son in the ocean. And she starts to daven, Hashem, please, my son, my only son, help, help. She's screaming, yelling, davening. And all of a sudden, after a few minutes, another big wave comes, and her son comes riding back onto the beach. She grabs her son, she runs to safety, and she starts thanking Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, thank you, Hashem. Amazing, honey, you saved me, Hashem, you're the best. And then all of a sudden, she's looking at her son, and she says, wait, Hashem, he was wearing a hat. Where's his hat? You see, sometimes Hashem gives us so much, and we have so much to be grateful about. And we say, wait, where's the hat? Where's the hat? And now you're all upset that there's no hat. Your son was just dead. He wasn't here. He got him back. She said, no. Where's my hat? You see, we sometimes say thank you, and then for foolishness, for small things, we get upset. We're not thankful anymore. Think about it. Sometimes, some people have shalom bayit problems, right? If a person would just stop to realize how much their spouse does, they wouldn't be upset. But what did they do? That one thing that they didn't do, that's the one thing I'm upset about now. My husband didn't put his socks into the dirty clothes. Oh, now it's the end of the story. My wife didn't close the toothpaste. I'm all upset. Right? Something small. But because they're looking at the smallest of things. The point here is Yaakov Avinu. He was saying, after 22 years, I'm missing Yosef Tzaddik. I don't care that he's king. The only thing I care about is that he's still alive. And that's all I have to say thank you for. He's king. He's not king. He's in charge. I don't care where he is. My son's alive. You look for what's most important. That's why Pirkei Avot says, who's the rich man? When a person realizes how much Hashem gives him, he has all the reason to be happy. But if he starts to complain, I don't have, I need more, I need bigger, I need this, then of course he's going to be upset. He's not going to be able to say thank you. Harav Yosef Lei Bloch would say, it's the pettiness of our generation. And it's accompanied image that stand in the way of our appreciating the greatness of previous generations. You understand? We have so much today, so much material. Because of materialism that we have, we're unable to appreciate how much good we have. In the olden days, they didn't have an iPhone where you're able to text, call, video, calculate. You can do so much. And yet we need the newest one. We're not happy with the one we have. Right? We're not happy with the house we have. We're not happy with the kids we have. Shalom. Happy with the family that we have. We're always looking somewhere else. I was talking today to my kids about it as well. There's a saying called, the grass is greener on the other side. I asked my kid, I told them this phrase, I said, what does this mean? They never heard this phrase before. So one of my daughters said, yeah, it means on any side you're standing, you think the other side is greener. I said, what does that mean? You're right, what does that mean? I said, no matter where you're standing, the way the human is built, the psychology is to always be jealous of what the other side has. No matter where you're standing, if someone offered you chicken and fish and you took the fish, you would be jealous you didn't take the chicken. And then if you took the chicken, you would want the fish. And so if we understand what we really have, you'll be sameach b'chelkom, you'll be happy with what you have, how much more we would be thankful to Hashem. In the secular world, they have a saying. The saying goes, I complained because I had no shoes until I met a man who had no feet. All right? Sometimes we only understand what we really have and appreciate it when we no longer have it, when we lose it, when it's gone. When that happens, then all of a sudden, oh, I had it, I remember this and that. How many people, Shalom, they lose a parent, right? And then all of a sudden now they say, oh, I'm so stupid, I should have spent more time with them. I should have gone, Sometimes you don't appreciate what's right in front of you. Yaakov Avinu was teaching us how we should take what we have and appreciate the main thing. Don't get all stuck on the narishkeit and the small little things in the world. Look at what the main things are, and for that, give all the thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's move on to our last lesson from this week's parasha. In this week's parasha, Yaakov Avinu is told that he will be going down to Mitzrayim with his family. Initially, Yaakov Avinu is scared to go down to Mitzrayim. He's going down to Galut. And going down into exile. That's the start of the first exile, right? Abraham Avinu was promised that for 400 years his children are going to be in a stranger's land. This is the start of it. And Yaakov Avinu is scared to go. So Hashem comes to Yaakov Avinu and tells Yaakov Avinu. He tells him as follows. Anochi, Hashem says, I, Hashem, Ered imecha Mitzrayim. I will go down with you to Mitzrayim. Va'anochi Alecha gam alo. I will also bring you up. Hashem gives a promise to Yaakov Avinu. I'm going with you to Mitzrayim, and I'll come out with you as well. What does this mean? I'm going with you to Mitzrayim. You know, the word Mitzrayim also stands for the word Mitzarim. Right? Mitzarim. What does Mitzarim mean? Distress and pain. Hashem is saying, I am going down with everybody's pain. When anybody's in trouble, Hashem says, I'm with you in that trouble. Just as the Jews went down to Mitzrayim, Hashem said, I'm with them there. Hashem keeps His promise every single day with every single Jew, as it says in Tehillim. David Melech says, about Hashem, Imo Anochi V'Tzara, I am with him in his pain. The Ribono Shel Olam is with everybody, even in the smallest of things. Hashem is always watching. And you know what Hashem says? Not only do I watch, Am Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God, like we say in Shema, I will also take you out of this. If a person realizes that if Hashem puts you into something, the one who puts you to it, they say, I want to put you to it, will pull you through it. That means if you have a challenge in life, who put you in that challenge? Hashem. I'm going with you. I'm putting you in this challenge. If I'm putting you, I'm also taking you out of this challenge. You just have to have emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Trust Hashem knows what He's doing. Put it into Hashem's hands. The hardest way, my Rosh Hashanah would say that he doesn't understand how secular people live. Why? If you don't believe in God, then all the craziness that goes on in the world, what do you do about it? How do you understand it? It's chaos. It really is. And it'll make a person go mad.
Who yield to?
Right. But if you believe in Hashem, then even if all the craziness goes on in the world, you know that Hashem has some sort of plan. Right? And you're able to live your life a little bit more calmer because you know Hashem is there in charge. If a person believes Hashem is in charge, he puts it in Hashem's hands. I want to share with you an amazing story that I saw from Rav Gamliel Rabinowitz Shlita. He cites a sefer in his sefer Tziv HaKehila. This is the story that he writes. There was once a very, very poor man, down and out, no money. And every day he would rummage through small piles of garbage searching for treasures. Right? One man's garbage, other man's treasure. He was looking for stuff. One day, he had the greatest of luck. He found a diamond. He cleaned it up. He brought it to a diamond dealer. And the expert said, wow, this is not just any diamond. This is the diamond. You can make a lot of money. I can't buy it from you here because this diamond, you got to go to the big city. So they told him to travel overseas to one of the big countries, the big cities, where the big diamond exchanges are, and you can make a lot of money for it. He didn't have money to even get a ticket to go on a boat. So he got whatever dollars he was able to put together and borrow, and whatever he could, he went to the ship, and he still didn't have enough. He was still short. So he's like, how am I going to get onto this boat? So he approaches the captain, and he tells the captain, look, I have here a diamond. I'm going to sell this diamond. And the captain says, you're a diamond dealer? He says, listen, you don't have to pay me now. Go do your business, and when you're done, you'll pay me. And so he goes onto the boat. Now he's on the boat. Now the captain invites him to all the big parties and meals on the boat. He's sitting, dining and wining with the rich. He's enjoying. And every time he keeps taking his diamond out and looking at it, he's enjoying it. Hashem is like, his life is changing. One day he ate really well, drank really well, and he had his diamond, he was looking at it. He put it down on the table, and he fell asleep. He wakes up just in time to see the waiter taking off the tablecloth, going to the side of the boat, and knocks off all the crumbs and his diamond into the water, into the sea. Now, he was about to scream, and he stops himself. He says, if I scream, they're going to realize I'm not a diamond dealer, I have no money, and they're going to kick me off this boat right now. So he keeps his mouth quiet. And he just sits there, davening, please, Hashem, figure this out for me. How am I going to do this now? I thought I have everything, and now I have nothing. As the ship was preparing to dock, they reached their destination, the captain walked over to this man and said, listen, I've been watching you, and I think you're a very honest man. I know you're a big diamond dealer. Listen, on my ship, I have a huge cargo of a lot of merchandise. I can't get off the ship because I got to do another stop. I'm going to be back here in 2-3 weeks. I'm going to give you all my merchandise. You sell it, and I'll share you 50-50 all the profits. He says, okay. And he does it. He makes so much money. He becomes a millionaire. He becomes a gevir, becomes a rich man. And he says to himself, imagine I would have screamed at that moment. Imagine I would have shouted out and said, it's all over. This deal never would have come through. Rav Gamliel Rabbeinu says, same thing when it comes to our challenges. Why are we screaming? Oh, I can't do it anymore. What do you mean you can't do it anymore? Hashem put you to it. Hashem is going with you in it. Trust Hashem to also take you out. That's what the pasuk is telling us. That's Hashem's promise, not only to Yaakov, Israel, but to every single Jew. That Hashem says, you have nothing to worry about. I'll go with you, and I'll take you out. You think this challenge is problematic? You have no idea what I have in store for you. I will tell you, with these lessons, I think if we take them to heart, Kadosh Baruch Hu will bless us with a lot of blessings. Remember, in the first lesson, do not write anyone off. Don't be inconsistent. Look at what you're doing. It doesn't make sense. Don't fool yourself. Give yourself rebuke now. Make sure you're working correctly and you're not tricking yourself. Don't let the Eitzah trick you. The second lesson that we had was that a person has to appreciate the main things in life. He has health, he has a family, he has a house. That's enough. Don't worry about the hat. I'm missing the hat. I don't have the hat. No, it's okay. It's okay if the hat went missing. Remember how much you have and enjoy that hat. Enjoy what you have. Be happy with what you have. And our third lesson, the lesson that we just learned, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts us in a challenge and He takes us out of that challenge. All we need to do is have emunah and grow from that challenge. Shabbat shalom and kulam. Check this off.